Hey, did you have that one time back in school where, looking back, you had this amazing chance with a woman, but you just flat out failed to deploy? Well, I think we can all relate to that one, and you're about to hear my worst story ever. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Scott McKay from X and Y Communications, where high-quality men come to deserve the most amazing women on earth. And let me tell you something. Back in high school, I was terrible at math. I mean, I probably could have gone to an Ivy League school or Stanford or someplace like that, except for my math grades. They were horrible. My SAT scores, everything in English, Spanish, even gym, all great grades, but math was like my Achilles heel. And guess what? I wasn't the only one who knew it. So one day after math class, that girl who everybody has in their school, you know the one, she's the one who's built like a woman already at age 17 when all the women, would-be women all still look like little girls in high school. Well, that's the girl who came and talked to me, and she said, Scott, I love that about girls where I lived growing up. They would call me Scott with this cute little feminine accent. Scott, I noticed that math is kind of frustrating to you. If you want, why don't you let me tutor you? You can come over my house. My parents don't come home every day until at least 6:30. So, why don't you come over? And I was like, wow. What an amazing situation. I mean, this really hot girl is actually going to let me spend time with her. And how nice that she would want to help me with math. So dutifully, I showed up at her house the very next day at 3:30, right after school. And she answered the door in this cute little outfit. She was like, "Oh, come on in, Scott." I said, "Okay." She goes, "So what are we going to do?" And I went, "Well, we're supposed to do math, right?" And she went, "Oh, right." So we sat down and she started tutoring me in math and giving me a little giggle here and there. And 3:30 turned into 4:30, turned into 5:30, turned into 5:45. Hey, you know what I said? Maybe I better leave because after all, your parents are going to be here soon and we don't want any trouble. And she was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely. We wouldn't want any trouble." So I left and she kind of gave me this little two-fingered wave like, "Bye." And guess what? That was the last time she tutored me in math. And I never really figured it out. I was like, well, I guess, she had better things to do. Well, yeah, she did have better things to do. What teenage girl wants to spend her afternoon after school doing math work with some guy she barely knows? All I could think of was, she must see me as really harmless. I'm just a guy she can help. She's after all, she's having me over her house. She trusts me. Maybe it wasn't that I was harmless, which is a terrible thing to be, by the way. The just be harmless zone is worse than the just be friend zone. But in this case, maybe it wasn't I was harmless. Maybe it was she actually trusted me. She saw me as a decent guy who wouldn't hurt her. Not hurting her is different from being harmless. And see, the difference between the two is her realization that I wouldn't hurt her leaves room for something a little frisky to happen. Hey, no girl's going to invite you over their house after school to do math. She's got better things to do, especially after she told you she would be home alone, exactly when her parents would be home, and she answers the door looking cute. Heck, I was in such the harmless zone, self-imposed I might add, that I thought she just looked that cute always. She didn't have to try. I should have made a move. I should have kissed her. Who knows what would have happened. All I know is she felt rejected because I didn't take the situation for what it was. I thought I was harmless, when in reality, it was much more of a compliment to me. She felt safe and comfortable around me and a little bit attracted, and she wanted me to do something about it. Let this story be a cautionary tale the next time you're alone with a woman at night watching Netflix. Maybe you've cooked dinner for her and she says, well, you know what? Let me slip into something a little bit more comfortable. Guys, you're not being a gentleman by not kissing her. You're not being nice. Sometimes what's in a woman's best interest is kissing her brains out and maybe giving her the orgasms that she needs. Maybe that's what's in her best interest. If you want more tips on how to be a better man and how to get better women, stop by www.deservewhatyouwant.com and get in on my daily newsletter. Until I talk to you again real soon, this is Scott McKay from X and Y Communications. Be good.